Hey guys, happy Sunday. I hope that you are having a glorious day. I hope that you had a fabulous week. I'm still going off the vibes of last Sunday. Had so much fun with you guys doing that giveaway. But before we dive into all of that, if you don't know who I am Tara with Kittens, Weights, and Tarot. You can learn a little bit more about me by checking out the description box down below, checking out my website, kittensweightsandtarot.com, maybe checking out the Witchy Shop, Desert Cauldron, all one word, over on Etsy. Or maybe you're looking for ways to help support the channel with Patreon membership or over on YouTube membership. So thank you to everybody, and thank you to all of the new subscribers and all the people who signed up for the newsletter. Had so many more people to add to that newsletter. I was so excited. So I hope you guys enjoyed the October newsletter. Remember, I don't play the spam game, so all you guys get from me is like one newsletter on the first of every month. So if you're into some like goodness about books and channels and crystals, tea recipes, herbs, herbal remedies, all that good stuff, then definitely check out the newsletter. I believe the link for the signing up for the newsletter is also down below, or you can find it through my website. All right. Lilith Phoenix is here. It says, hey, Tara, good to see you. Great to see you. For those who don't know, last Sunday I did a giveaway on the channel, and it was for hitting the milestone of over 11,000 subscribers, which to me is freaking amazeballs. And so we had a bit of a party. We made ourselves a little party mess. It was fun. And congratulations to the people who won through that giveaway. So it was just all the things. So I'm still getting well wishes from people, messaging me on Instagram or private messaging on YouTube and stuff, just like, saying congratulations on the 11K. So thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So today, homies, we're going to dive into our weekly reading. Then afterwards, we're going into what you lovely people voted for. And by the way, if you don't know what I'm talking about, like voting, what? So every Thursday, I put out a poll on my YouTube channel page. So the poll, I have a public poll, and then I also put out that same poll for my YouTube members, and I put out that same poll for my Patreon members. So if there's something that you're aching to see and you're a patron or you're a YouTube member, those extra votes really do count towards it all. So it actually was really close because of those YouTube member votes and Patreon member votes. So we are going to be doing a light language activation today. Woo! I've been really feeling called to do that. So I was so excited that that's what you guys voted for. I was like, yes. And then afterwards we'll do super chats and super stickers for anybody who'd like me to pull a card for them. And then we'll go into our channel guided meditation, just like leave on a nice healing note. All right. So we are indoors today because I wasn't quite sure on the wind and, how all that was going to be, but hopefully it'll be nice, next week. So I'll be able to go outside, or maybe it's raining next week. Ooh, which that would be fun too. So anyway, we're just hanging out by the altar area. Actually, Vader is here too. He's chilling off to the side. Hold on, maybe I could point the camera down. You guys could see him. Hold on. There he is. Vader, say hello to the interwebs. He's like, what? Yeah. Yes, the interwebs. Oh, he don't care. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a great Sunday. So let me know what popped up for you guys this week. Did you get any interesting downloads? Anybody have some interesting dreams? I've had some really odd dreams. I mean, maybe they're not odd anymore. Maybe they're just my dreams because they're always odd. So, but yeah, just let me know. Just, anything, that came up this week, or maybe something happened today. Or maybe you're just out running errands, or maybe you're just chillaxing and Netflixing it, which that's cool too. Go ahead and share. Angel Gaia says, blessings, Tara, hugs to you. Oh, it's Angela. Hey, Angela, how are you? It's good to see you. How are you doing? Well today? Love and light sent your way. Amen. Amen to you, my sister. And Costalini's here. It says, hello, Darth. Yes. Vader. Actually, he's not so much a Darth Vader. He's more like Space Invader. Yes. So I call him the Space Invader. He thinks he's like this big. So he wants to jump on things thinking he's this big. Anyway, okay. Let's see. Let's see. What could I say about this past week other than interesting dreams? I'm doing a lot more flying again in my dreams, which has been really nice. I remember when I used to just be able to feel that, that flying feeling every once in a while in my dreams, but now it feels like it's more often, which is great. And the thing is, I think I'm awake when I'm having those dreams, and it's like, and I'm like, okay, so what I'm gonna do, so like I pick up one knee, and I'm like, and then I'm standing on one leg, and I'm like, okay, and then I'm gonna pick up the other leg, and I pick up both legs, and then I'm like floating in my dreams, you know, and then I'm like, sweet, I'm like, so that's how you do it. I finally figured out how, and then I wake up, and I'm like, man, foiled again. I thought I truly figured out how to fly. But eventually one day, maybe I'm just doing practice runs in my dreams. But I had this interesting dream last night. And I woke up actually quite a few times just before sunrise. Like I noticed it was getting a little bit brighter in the room, a little bit brighter, but the sun hadn't quite come up yet. So it must have been like 3, 4, maybe 5 in the morning. Um, and I had this dream that it was so pitch black, the the moon wasn't shining, no lights were on, nothing, that I couldn't see anything in the bedroom. And so I'm trying to navigate my way around the bedroom, like bashing my shin into things, which I'm like, I don't think you're supposed to experience pain while you're sleeping. But yeah, so I'm like hitting my shins into like the bed and like various things, and I'm just like, I can't see. And so it was literally just like black in my dream. And then this bright light is just like there and lights up everything. So now you can see everything. But this light was just, I think there were some things we were talking about, but I don't remember any of that part of the dream anymore. But I do remember the light was asking me, this like bright light, was like, if I wanted to see somebody again, who would it be? And I was like thinking, do they have to be alive? And I think there wasn't any verbal speaking. I think this was all like telepathic, and it was like, well, yeah, they could be here, they could be not here, but and they wouldn't be able to stay. It's just like if you wanted to just like say hello again briefly, who would you like to say hello to? And I was like, well, could it be 2 people? And it was like, yes. And I was like, okay, I want to see my grandma and grandpa. And so I remember that my grandma and grandpa were there. I don't remember the interaction or anything. And then the light was asking me, if there's anything on my physical person that I wanted healing, what would that be? And I was like trying to think, and I was like, well, I think like my physical body is okay, and I was like trying to think like, like maybe, I don't know, maybe sharpen up my vision or something. I was like, well, I kind of got this thing like with my heart, like maybe if my little wonky heart could, be fixed up, that'd be fine. And it was like, okay. And then I don't remember the rest of the dream. But I remember that Riley was with me, and Riley was also talking to this light. And I don't remember what he was saying though, because the same questions were asked to him. If you wanted to see somebody again, and it could just be brief, it's just like for a hello and goodbye, like this person can't stay, like who would it be? And then also asked him if there's anything on his physical person that he would like healed. And then, yeah, I don't remember the rest of the dream, but definitely an interesting dream. So let me see what you guys have to say here. Let's see. Uh, Angel Gaia Heart says, I dreamt I hugged a lion last night, and earlier in the week, I dreamed a big green dragon curled around me. She said, I'm holding you. We don't hoard treasure. We hoard people. We love to keep them safe. What a beautiful dream. And you know what? Interesting that you talk about lions because lions and tigers, not lions, tigers, and bears, but just lions and tigers have been coming up a lot this week for myself, for a friend of mine. So it's interesting, just lions again. Costalini says, my ex's bridesmaids gave a bouquet of purple flowers, and I'm pretty sure there was a clover in there. So that was a crazy synchronicity. The purple clover. Oh my gosh. Dude, that is. I mean, it seems like everything's just so wild these days, synchronistically, dream wise, vision wise. It's just, I don't know. I'm like running out of adjectives to describe it. um, Angela says, I'm doing great. Been sewing a doll's gown, fixing stuffies, and sewing a shaped pillow. Ooh, fun activities, especially going into the autumn season. Lilith says, I dream a lot with household feline and X for some reason, but definitely dreams are vivid. Also, sometimes dreaming in sequels, dreams are fascinating. Wow. Okay. Speaking of that, I do dream in sequels as well. And sometimes the next sequel of that dream won't be for a while, but every once in a while I'm in these, like I'll be in a space that I remember, like, oh, I was here like in a previous dream, and it's like it picks up where it left off. So a lot of times my dreams are in my dreams. It's um oh, I'm trying to think of that movie, Inception. I was like Inception. No, Inception. But yeah, it's like that movie. And then in my dreams, I'm recalling my dreams in my dreams. That I'll be like talking to somebody in my dream and be like, oh my gosh, I had a dream about that one time. And then I'll have synchronicity in my dreams where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is happening. Well, I just had a dream about that. And it's literally in my dreams. So that's interesting. Angela says, OMG, wow, that feels like a divine encounter. Something about the desk feels divine. Ooh. It says, Sekhmet might be calling you. She's become a second matron to me over the last year. She's the lion-headed Egyptian goddess of war, and healing her and Gaia in a single space, the vibes are incredible. Yeah, that's what I was feeling. I was feeling a lot of, like at first I was feeling a lot of this like canine, energy. And I feel like that's all there, but there's also a lot of this feline energy coming in lately. So it's a nice, beautiful mix of this like masculine, feminine, and very interesting, very interesting. But it's like both halves of the canine and the feline. So it's like the I would say the light and the shadow, or the action and inaction of feline, and then the same for canine. So that's been very interesting. Let's see. Lila says, yes, whole cities in the dreams, and you return there. It's wild, but for me, it was pretty obvious the cities are based upon places I've been combined, which becomes its own. The mind is absolutely fascinating. Yes. Um, and I do feel like we're doing a lot of astral travel. It's like it's almost like the liminal space that we're in. And some of my dreams are vivid, where I know, like I know for sure it's more than a dream. I know that there was some real interaction going there that just wasn't in my waking state. And sometimes my dreams are just, you know, they're just funsies. But yeah, I definitely like having that mix where like sometimes there's some really potente dreams and you're like, okay, I'm listening and I'll remember those dreams forever. Like there's a dream I had when I was like 5, and I still remember it vividly. And I hope my memory never fades, because I have them all like stored up here, all these dreams that I've had. So on that note, let's talk about the waking dream this upcoming week. The waking dream that we are currently in. And let's pull a few cards. But before I do, I want to say thank you to everybody who joins and hangs out with us during these Sunday live chats. And now that we're in the October season, I was thinking maybe like a couple of times, maybe before Samhain, Halloween, we could do maybe a couple more bonfires outside, do a couple of night chats, and maybe not necessarily on a Sunday. Like we could do this like on a Saturday or another day of the week, just, nighttime chat, like 8, 9 o'clock, and just go out there and have a little bit of fun, maybe pull some cards, maybe just tell some interesting spirited stories, that could be fun. So yeah, thank you to everybody who joins us, and thank you to all of my wonderful subscribers. Thank you to my YouTube members, and you know who they are because they have a little colored kitty head right next to their name. So like Nancy and Kayla and Jonathan Cleese and Jolene Duality Tales, Sea Captain 8611 and Costalini. And also to my patrons, thank you, thank you. Lily and Dana and Jamie and Kayla and Sugna Baby and Brandy and Brian and Paulu and Crystal and Easy Does It and Joel, Casey Gritter, Oz, and Ashley. Thank you, thank you. Love you guys so much. And also to my mighty, mighty moderators, they are the ones who wield the wrench of destiny next to their names. All right, so let's have a look-ski back here. Let's see. Oh yeah, okay. All right, so we caught up on our chat there. Okay, so let's see. What do I want to pull? Actually, I have a few decks to show you guys. So I backed Danielle Norman. She's a deck creator out in Canada, and she had this Kickstarter for her most recent deck called the Autumn Season Tarot. Bam, there it is. Beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous deck. But I decided to back her on a tier where basically she was like, get all the decks I've ever created. You can get it in this one bundle. And I was like, whoa, okay. So, I did my donation and then I got all of her decks. But some of the decks were coming from a fulfillment center and some of her decks were coming from her store in Canada. And she said, Canada has this weird thing with the mailing service right now, so she had to mail it out as a birthday gift, and so it was so cute. Everything was wrapped in the Mandalorian like wrapping paper, and it was so cute. I even got like a birthday card. I got like a little birthday candy bar. It was so much fun. I was like, happy birthday to me in October. But anyway, so I have her decks here with me. I have the Autumn Season, which is the one I was originally backing on Kickstarter. And then I have her Ascension Tarot, which is the first deck she ever created. I have her Winter Season Tarot, which is the deck before the Autumn Season that she had created. And then I have her Walking Meditation Tarot. There were a couple of other decks, but I couldn't grab them. They're off across the property. But yeah, I'll go get those another time. All right. And then one of my good friends, V, over at V Love and Crystal, sometimes called V Love and Tarot. She has a channel here on YouTube. And actually, I put a link to one of her most recent videos on my YouTube channel page. So definitely go check her out. She was doing like a pick a card reading, but she was using my Wally's World Oracle. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so I now I have actually a few of her decks, but this is a deck that I had wanted for a while. And this is it's like, was it Get Your Cup of Coffee? Or yeah, Your Cup of Coffee Oracle. So I thought it was fun. So I have that. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull some cards. Okay. Let me just scroll down. All right, so let's pull a theme card for this upcoming week. And I want to use that Autumn Season Tarot. Okay, so what do we need to know? What do we need to meditate on? What do we need to let go of something? Do we need to embrace something? Do we need to do some cartwheels outside while the weather's still good? Do we need to go run around with our crazy doggies? He's asleep now, but he's got an ear pointed towards me, so he's still half listening. Okay, so let's see what Wally has to say. Ooh, it's the Duomo. in Italy. That picture was actually taken by moi. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and read what I put in the guidebook. And then, of course, I'll read it intuitively. But give me a moment so you guys can see. Okay, what card number do I have this at? 22. Okay. Let's see what I had originally said about the Duomo. And by the way, Wally is right there. He's just chilling. And it seems like the Duomo's always under construction. It's like perpetually under construction. Okay, so this was taken in Florence, Italy. I was only there for about a day, and it was just, it was crazy because I was there for the opera. I was singing in the opera, and some of the other ladies that were singing with me, we decided to go out to Florence while we had a break from our rehearsals. And there were a few things I wanted to get there, but while we were there in Florence, okay, so we're walking down this street and we see like a jewelry store, and then we see that we're coming upon this little bridge, and I noticed that the bridge is called the Ponte Vecchio, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, I know the Ponte Vecchio. I was like, one of my favorite arias to sing in the whole world is O mio Babino. And I was like, by Gianni Schicchi. And I was like, or it's not by Gianni Schicchi, but it's the opera Gianni Schicchi. And so I was like, oh my gosh. And so the street we're on is the street in the opera, in that aria. The Ponte Vecchio is in that aria. And then we're looking at the jewelry store, like, is that where she bought the Nello, the ring? Basically, oh my gosh. This is like, it was like this, like, like all my nerdy, like, singing stuff like came together at that moment, and I like almost fell over in tears. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like my favorite aria, and I'm right here, like where the person must have like gotten the inspiration to write this song. Okay, so this is what I put. I said this is the Cathedral of Santa Maria, also known as the Duomo. I was in Italy to perform in an opera. Watching the sun rise over the Duomo, laughing with my fellow singers was the most surreal thing I have ever felt. It was powerful. Yes, because as soon as we arrived, because we took a train pretty early because we wanted to have the whole day in Florence, and so basically right here, the sun was just beginning to rise, like over the Cathedral de Santa Maria. Yeah, so okay. Let me just refresh this page real quick. Ooh, have some messages here. Sorry, it got like stuck. Let's see. Angela was saying maybe it's Sekhmet and Anubis because we're talking about the feline and canine energy. Long hair, skinny Aito. Oh my gosh, long time no see. How are you? Lilith says, I must say it's specific to the household feline, not felines. Yes. And Time Harvest, oh, hey, Time Harvest is here. Hey, it says, I had dreams I was in the future in which I saw futuristic technology or features, and later I saw the signs unfolding. I had predicted the future. I love those kind of dreams, those predictive dreams, I would say. And Angela says, I heard recently brains remember faces but can't create them from scratch. So every face in your dreams might be one you saw somewhere. I've read about that, where even if it was just like a passing, somebody passing by, consciously, you may not remember that person or that face, but it gets logged into your memory, and then they might become part of your dreams as an archetype for something else or what have you. Lilith says, funny you say that because I never remember how people look in my dreams, specifically their faces, but I know who they are by sensing them. Me too. Like sometimes, like let's say my dad is in my dream or Riley is in my dream, but they don't look like them, but I know it's them. So sometimes it's like they look like other people, but I know that it's them. And Angela says, I vote we take the best sports of all our dreams and manifest them to this world, are the best parts of our dreams. Heck yeah. And Lilith says, it will be spicy. Ooh. And then Angela says, love you, adorable puppy. Does that mean we have nightmares with scary faces? We saw those too. Oh, could be. And then Whoa, my computer got a little stuck there. Um, all right, I think that was everybody. Sorry, the computer just froze for a moment. Okay, so let's get our message like for the theme for this upcoming week. Okay. Are you all ready for this? Okay. Um, so the message that I was getting is that um, there are a variety of reasons that many of us have begun our let's say our spiritual path. We've kind of always been on our spiritual path, but I would say the point where we awakened to that spiritual path, where we decided, consciously, like, wow, I feel like, things are a little bit more than meets the eye, a little bit more than my five senses. And so maybe some people, maybe went towards a particular belief system, or maybe some people geared more towards a particular religion, or some people just kind of went the whole like woo woo route, just trying to like learn, everything, understand, everything from everybody's point of view, or, whatever, what have you. But um, this week is not, it's not just, it doesn't feel like it's just confined to this week. And it may have like begun earlier for some people, but this is kind of an ongoing thing. But to revisit what the catalyst was for that moment that you would say you quote unquote woke up, where you're like, oh, okay, I think, I want to start learning about this now, or I want to start understanding what is soul, or, just sensing energy. Or maybe it was like you walked by a I don't know, a yoga studio, and you're like, oh, I overheard them talking about chakras. Like, what is that? Um, so this is a chance to revisit that beginning, and trying to understand why, in both light and shadow, we decided to consciously be aware of this path that we're on. I say consciously be aware because we've been on the path since we are born in this incarnation. And of course the path is from, before we even are incarnated, but I'm talking about this particular incarnation, the point where we just kind of like woke up to it. So of course, there could be a light reason. Maybe there was something that we were involved in that we finally decided, you know what, this isn't good for me. I want to start looking at how to, take care of my essence, my energy, or trying to understand what energy is. Or maybe it was overcoming an addiction. Maybe it was an injury that you had, and that and it forced you to go inwards. Maybe it was running away from a religion you were brought up in, but now it's like, okay, well, now we have to go back and see the why, why all of that happened, why we may have run away. What was it, the religion itself, or was it just the people that were trying to enforce it? Or was it the injury, or did we somehow create a situation in order to have that injury occur so that we could go inwards? Or, so just taking a look at all facets, so it's probably going to be triggering, but it's nothing that we can't handle, otherwise it wouldn't be coming up for us. So it's just revisiting those whys. Why did I start that journey? Like, what really like pushed me to wake up? So, and I'm trying to look at both the light, all the wonderful things that it's helped me in, and all the wonderful people I've gotten, to meet along the way, but also looking at the shadow aspect. Has somehow, this path that I'm on, in this journey, and wanting to understand as much as I can and understand other people's points of view, in a way, have I used it to bypass anything? Is it a way for me to run from my past, but while it may appear as though I am, in light? So this is all just questions. That's what Wally's, he's just our little guide there. He's just helping us to ask these questions. So it's not meant to point fingers or feel bad about oneself or bad about our decisions, but it's just to look at why we started. Why, what, did we have a hand in kind of bringing in some of this energy so that we could go on this path? How did we do that? with the choices that we made. And where have maybe this path taken me to some places that aren't so good for me, and where has it been really good for me? So again, just looking at the light and shadow. This is all just about reflection and asking questions. Because we know that the moment we stop asking questions, the easier it is for us to get duped, not just by others, but by our own ego. So that's the theme. Let's go into a little bit more. So I'm just like, whew, that's why I was like, are you guys ready for this? But, I think we are. I think that we're getting to a point now where all of us, no matter where you guys live in the world, what your beliefs are, because I know we all have different beliefs. We all have different points of view on how we see this lifetime, how we see, the divine, or how we see God, or how we see source. But now it's just understanding, where did all that come from? Like what started that path? So let's just ask some questions. All right. So my friend V, I'm going to bust out her deck. I remember the name now. It's called Daily Dose of Coffee. Daily Dose of Coffee Oracle. And you can find it in her Etsy shop, called V Love Crystals. So it's not V Love and Crystals, it's V Love Crystals. Ooh, cards just flying out all over the place. That's cool. All right, let's pull those two cards. And then we'll use Danielle Norman's Autumn Season Tarot. Okay, let's see. Angela says, tech glitches, be gone, go away, eat data chips elsewhere, leave Terra alone. Okay, amen. Amen, my friend. Thank you. And she says, ooh, shadow work. Love it. Make the shadow work easier. Grab your favorite tea, comfy clothes, try and make it more comfortable. Yes. Yes. Whatever aids you through shadow work. I know it's not the most fun thing. Some people actually really revel in it. For others, it might be like okay. But yeah, whatever you got to do to, help you in the question asking phase. Lilith says, the world never made a lot of sense to me before my spiritual path. So once I shifted into my curiosity of understanding spirituality, everything fell into place and made sense. I love that. I love that. Hey, our buddy John is also here. What's up, John? Okay, so let's pull some cards here and see, maybe this relates to that theme card that we pulled about, taking a look into the whys and the hows of awakening to the path that we are on, awakening to things beyond our five senses. Okay, so we have serenity. I know that's a cup of coffee, but if it were tea, it would be serenity. Okay, so that's a lovely card. And then we have communication. Beautiful. Okay. And then I pulled a few cards from the Autumn Season Tarot. I have the Nine of Cups. And all of these images are what Danielle Norman says that she would see in Canada. So it's a reflection of her Canadian experience of autumn. And this one is the Six of Cups. And then we have the Awakening, which is the Judgment card. Okay, so let's put all of these together. So Awakening, Six of Cups, Nine of Cups, communication, serenity. I don't know if I can hold all of these with one hand, but we're gonna try. Because your girl got mad skills, that's why. I got card holding skills. Okay, well that fell out. Try that again. There we go. Ta-da! Okay, so let's put them all together. Okay. Okay. So this is basically source energy, God energy, reminding us that asking questions shouldn't be something that we fret, something that we, um, put off for later, because there's nothing scary about asking questions. There's nothing demeaning about asking questions. There's no judgment about asking questions. And it seems like, in general, not talking about you guys as individuals, I'm just saying in general, what the energy is saying is that in general, some people don't mind asking questions of others and asking questions about the world around them. But sometimes when it comes to asking questions about ourselves, we're already on the defense with ourself. Like, well, if I ask this question, well, I did this because, well, it's like, but like, who are we becoming defensive with? Like, we don't, it's just me asking questions to me, so the only one who can get their feathers ruffled is me, so just making sure that whatever we're doing, we're in a nice neutral place. Our friend Angela had mentioned maybe getting a nice cup of tea, being in some comfy clothes, whatever helps to get you kind of in that neutral, grounded, position. Maybe it's going and doing a walking meditation. Maybe you want to go walk along the creek or something. Maybe you want to go take the dog for a walk. Maybe you want to sit and just kind of draw, do some sketches with your kids or something like that. And it just kind of helps to ground and get you focused so that we can be in this space of non-judgment with ourselves, just asking ourselves these questions. And as we do, it's as you'll notice that we'll get even more clarity on our past, because what happens is we might have locked in our mind, like, let's say, I don't know, let's say there was an interaction between my brother and I, and I'm trying to like think of a memory so I could use that as an example. Um, okay, I have this memory of my brother and I selling lemonade outside our house on the sidewalk. And our little quote unquote table was actually my dad's laundry basket turned upside down. And then we had like the lemonade stacked up on it. We were just kind of sitting on the curb. We made a little sign that said, 10 cents for a little cup of lemonade. And my mom was like constantly washing the dishes because we didn't have like the disposable cups. These were like cups from our cupboards. Um, and so, okay, so there's that memory. So that memory is locked in my mind. And I say that summer is like that. That summer is selling lemonade. It's how I see my little brother. I always see him as, actually, my brother is always either 3 or 6 years old. My brother's 38 now. But in my mind, and even when I dream about him, he's always just a little boy. And so when I see summer always being the way I saw the sun, so it's locked into my memory that way. But when I ask these questions, what God is saying is, I'm asking these questions and I'm going backwards and going further and further, more deeply into myself. And I might realize that some of those memories might have been skewed on how I felt at the time, my perception of things at the time. And so I actually altered my own memories, where I might have it in my head that that is my memory. That's exactly what happened. But it might be different now, looking at it with adult eyes, and the eyes of where I'm sitting now. That whole memory could be different. And then I might, start to ask myself, why is my brother always 3 and 6 years old in my memories? Why is he never the 38-year-old man, married man that he is now? And so, that I might start asking questions about that of myself too. It's like, well, then why, does that color how I talk to him? Do I talk to him like, like he's a little child, because that's how I always see him, and so, and what does that have to do with my spiritual path, having a sibling that I'm always seeing as little. So yeah, just some things to come up. So it seems like a lot of our memories are going to come up with these questions that we ask of ourselves this week. And remember, we have this 9 of Cups card right here. So this is going to be a wonderful experience for us. We're going to have a lot of aha moments. We might have some mind blowing moments of like, oh my gosh, but I totally remembered this memory being this way and this way. But now when I'm really looking at it, I might have been telling myself my story based on that memory, that now I see it differently. And so that changes my whole story now. That changes who I am now. So we might have some big revelations this week. And I know it's not just this week, this is going to be an ongoing process. But like the energy is open for us in this way right now to really start asking the moment that we feel that we can say, like, I woke up, and maybe if you don't have a date, like you're not like, well, I remember waking up on July 17th of 2015. It might not be that way. It might just be like, well, it was somewhere around the time of, and then we start going backwards from there. Okay, so like, what was the catalyst? What was I feeling? What was I going through? If I were to have had a hand in my own reality, which we know we do, then why did I bring this reality into myself? What do I feel I was needing? What was the shadow going on at the time? What was the light, in this? And as I move forward where I am currently, what's the light in it? What's the shadow in it? What does this have to do with like some of my memories as I go backwards? So, this is going to be fascinating, and we're going to have clear communication with ourselves so that we have a clear vision moving forward and here in the present. So I love that. Very nice. And by the way, if you guys wanted to slang some cards too, or if you guys are getting some downloaded information, definitely share that as well. Okay, so let me go back here. Angela says, my spiritual path served me. My thoughts and intentions to take the drastic measure to get off this rock, but I was always stopped, literally heard voices with no source say, no, I prayed for something to help me keep going and learn, and found witchcraft literally within the month. Wow. So you prayed and then it appeared. Lilith says, not Tara introducing mom jokes. Me? No. Angela says, pouring my focus into my path and craft shaped work saved my life. I feel like the light in your dream was source of some sort. Me too. I feel that too, actually. It says, where's Susie and Silver Star? I hope they're okay. They are doing fabulous, actually, but they have gotten, for the most part, off of social media. So I still interact with them like through text messages. But yeah, they're for the most part, just kind of, they're taking time to integrate. They're actually doing what I was just talking about for the weekly reading. They've been doing a lot of introspection and a lot of really taking a look at their path, and so they're doing some good stuff over there. Silver Star Priestess and I are always sending each other like music. Actually, she has a way more bomb playlist than I do, so I love all the musical choices that she's sending me. So it's like stuff that we can meditate to, that we can groove to. Yeah, so we're like dorky little music people like that. And Susie as well. She's doing really well. She's working on some stuff too. And Lilith says, the topics of healing, forgiving, and forgetting keep coming back to me. What do you guys think? How can we achieve these things without the perpetrator of said hurt apologizing? That actually just came up today as well. Now that you mentioned that. And Angela says, you can write them a letter, let them know your feelings, and you don't have to send it, just write it. And it over, write an apology to them, and together leave it in an altar or space and let it work. And then destroy the paper when you're ready. Yeah, that's a good idea. Without actually, having to like talk to them, apologize to them. What I believe the message today was, it was about forgiveness, but like not the kind where we just say, oh well, you can go right along trampling over my boundaries and hurt me whenever you feel like it. Not that type of forgiveness where it's like, oh, one is, I would say, disempowered, and the other one would be like an empowered forgiveness. So the one type of forgiveness is just like, oh well, okay, I forgive you, but it's just, I don't know, kind of, I like to go back to like the little kid thing. Like, let's say my brother and I were fighting, and then it's like, okay, I forgive you, but then we're always going to just like keep fighting, and stuff. And I'm always trying to wrestle him on the living room floor, and then and the other type of forgiveness might not be one where I actually speak to him face to face, although it could be, but more it's. Let's say he had done something to really wrong me, which my brother hasn't, by the way. My brother is a great guy. But let's say he had done something that I felt really wounded by. And I would acknowledge this and say, okay, I recognize this. And I also recognize how this has aided me, in my healing journey. I also understand how it's hurt me in my healing journey. I also understand maybe why it was brought to my attention. And could it have been brought to my attention in some other form? Yes. And I set the intention that I don't want these messages or lessons to come to me in such painful ways, but I understand why it was there. And I thank his soul for coming in and playing that role. I thank my soul for coming in and playing that role. I see the bigger picture now. And because I feel this heaviness still in me, and I don't want to carry this heaviness around, because then it's the punishment or the pain is staying with me longer than the time it took for the initial pain to occur. So let's say we said some words to each other and he really hurt me, and that whole exchange took 20 minutes, but now it's been staying with me for 20 years. 20 years, those words have continued to hurt me over and over as if they were just said the other day. So instead, I say, I forgive you for, being where that person was in their path, their understanding, from their human self, their ego self. I forgive you because I don't want to hold on to it anymore. So it's a way of letting go of that energy. It's not saying, I forgive you, go ahead and do it to me again. No, it's, I forgive you because there was something we both needed to learn at that time. But if this were to come up again, I'm wiser now. I have boundaries now, and I will enact them. And I will say something because I've learned from the experience. And so for me, that's just my personal thing with forgiveness, is just, I try to look at what I was meant to learn. How did this help me grow as a person? And I thank the soul for coming in and helping me with that. I thank my own soul and all the other souls that were involved in that situation for playing the parts they needed to play for my healing and their healing. And so the human, I forgive the human. The human didn't understand what the heck was going on. They didn't understand their soul was playing a role or any of that. So I forgive the human in that respect. But if the human tries to do that to me again, I will say something and I will put my foot down because I've learned from that. And for that, I'm grateful. Um, does that mean that I like totally enjoyed that interaction? No. But I will see to it that that interaction doesn't happen again, because I have learned my lesson, and hopefully they have learned whatever they needed to learn, whatever their soul and their human self needed to learn from that interaction. I hope they learned it, and I send healing their way. And that way we cut the cord. We let it go. And is it a one and done thing? Not really. Maybe some of you guys are rock stars and you can do it all one and done. But I have felt, for me, when it comes to forgiveness, I have to. It's a process, and something that we learned today, because Riley and I, we went to church today. It's a place actually called the church. That's just what it's called. And the person who was giving the sermon today was talking about forgiveness, actually, and saying that when we're forgiving from basically our human self, our ego, it's very hard to forgive in that way. Because the ego is so filled with like, you hurt me and I'll never forgive you. And, and we feel like, if I never forgive this person, that somehow I'm hurting them, when it's the opposite. I continue to hurt myself by saying, no, I'll never forgive you. I'll never forgive you for what you did. But the soul, the divine part of us, that's the powerful part of us. So we can call on that divine part. We can call on, whether you call it source or God, or, you call on to that part. Say, show me the bigger picture. Okay, I see the bigger picture. I don't want to hold on to this pain anymore. Let's help release it together with understanding, with love instead of with hatred. Um, so that's just my 2 cents. I'm not saying you have to do it that way, but I do like this discussion. So do continue to weigh in, you guys. Um, let's see. Let's go back here. Angela says, "Tell them I said hi, please." um, And then M is here. Hello. Says, "Hi, I was about to go to sleep, but this called me." Well, hello, hello. Hopefully it's not too late in your part of the world. Angela says, "We're on the same vibes today." And then, hello, M, blessings. M says, "Thank you." Angela said, "Hugs to all the beautiful souls who need it today. Love and light. Lots of blessings to you all today. Amen." M says, "I'm on my journey of forgiving everyone that wronged me, as wishing they may forgive me if I ever did something bad to them." I love that. And Angela says, "Oh, I did a healing and protection spell with a magic word. In case others need it, the word is lion's den." Ooh, lions coming up again. "Claim it if you feel you want it or need it." And Lilith says, "So what about the type of relationship that repeats the cycle over and over? Do we shift away, or do we stay in the vicinity? Do we walk away?" Um, Well, give me a moment to think on that one, because I think those are some really good questions too. And by the way, you guys keep weighing in. I think you guys have some wonderful insight. All the different higher selves weighing in, is going to be so much more colorful than just mine. M says, "Thank you. So nice of you." Angela says, "If someone you love constantly hurts you, it's not the love. Keep yourself safe from toxic people. That's just my point of view." Anna M says, "Love the background, by the way." Well, thank you. That's my little secret space. um, okay, so Lilith was asking about the type of relationships that repeat over and over. Okay, well, this is okay. Okay, everything's just so freaking synchronistic. Okay, so yesterday, I'm watching my friend V Love and Crystals. I'm watching one of her videos, one of her pick a card videos. And I swear that in that video, um, she's talking about basically all of my ex-boyfriends. Like all of my exes. And so she's saying, "Oh, and then it could be this person, this person." But the way the reason she was doing this reading was like, what are they thinking about you? And it was interesting. And I kind of had to put my ego aside too, because it was taking a look at it from their point of view. Um, and also acknowledging that I had consistently dated the same type of guy. They were always, different. I've dated guys from basically, like all over the world. So they all seemed different, but they all had a very similar personality trait. And so at some point, I was like thinking about this. And although I have acknowledged this before, it's just the way that V had done it in her video that got me to think a little bit more. And it was, what was it that I felt I needed from these exes that I felt like they were fulfilling? What were they fulfilling in me, which is why I kept going after this one personality trait. And then I had to think about it. That personality trait, I would say I didn't like. I didn't like it. I don't like, and just in case any of them are watching, I'm not trying to put them on blast or anything, but there's a particular personality trait I didn't like. However, I kept seeking it out in different people I was dating. And so I had to stop and think, like, why would I do that? If it's something that I don't like in somebody else, why do I keep seeking it out? And so that took some sitting with, and so that I could understand, why that cycle kept repeating. And so this isn't the first time I thought about it. So it wasn't just like I just now thought about this yesterday. It was just a deeper level of trying to understand it. But this time understanding who I am in their story, because I know very clearly who my exes are in my story. You know, I could say all kinds of things about my ex-boyfriends, but then I'm like thinking, you know, um, according to her reading and everything, it was getting me to reflect on, you know, I just might be the villain in a lot of people's stories. And again, it's stuff that we already know this, but it's like that moment you take pause and you're like, whoa, oh my gosh, and it like really sinks in. And I even posted something about this on Instagram. It was something about the power of being your authentic self is when you relinquish control of how others see you. You just don't care anymore. You could be the hero in somebody's story, you could be the villain in somebody's story, but it doesn't matter what their story is about you. All that matters is your story and all the good that you try to do to help people, but how other people perceive you and how other people write you off, that's you can't control that. That's like a it's a fruitless endeavor, to try to say, I want somebody to like me. And, but sometimes some people just aren't, no matter how good of a person, how sweet of a person, how kind of a person you are, they're just not going to like you. And so that's just how it is. And so, but if we constantly base our value and who we are on how other people perceive us, then that's it's going to be a very painful process for us. And so I was taking all of this into account when I was like, oh my gosh, so yes, this particular personality trait I was going after because in the like light portion of it, I wish I had that personality trait, even though it was a trait I didn't like. I didn't want it. I didn't want it to the degree, the shadowy aspect degree that they had that trait, but it was something that I wanted for myself in a more transmuted light aspect. And once I finally had found my own power, refound it, reclaimed it, it was always there. I just wasn't looking at it. um, was the moment that cycle stopped. And it was because I had to acknowledge that what I was seeking was something I thought I didn't want. It was just I was looking at the shadow aspect of it instead of what it could be in its most beautiful light aspect. And that's what I claimed. And since now that I found it in myself, I don't need somebody else reflecting the shadowy aspect of it to me anymore. And so that also helped with forgiveness yesterday, with like, okay, I see that. I see what those souls, those dudes, their souls, they incarnated into these dudes and they were like, okay, we're going to play this role with Tara and we're going to teach her something. It might be really painful lessons for her, but this is what she wants apparently. And then eventually she got it. And it's like I could see their souls being like, yay, you got it. And my soul was like, I finally got it. Yeah. And yeah, so I mean, that's just another way of looking at things, I guess, when it comes to like repeating cycles and trying to understand what it is that even if we don't like it, why do we keep seeking it out then? And then once we really understand it and integrate it, at some point the cycle just stops. There's nothing you need to like do anymore. It has to stop because your energy changed. But that's just my like little anecdote, my little story. I don't know. I hope it's helpful. Um, let's see. And was saying the spice. Angela says also, don't know who needs to hear this, but it's okay to rest and take care of yourself. You deserve it too. Yes, you very much do. Okay. Well, you guys are asking some really wonderful questions, by the way. And I encourage you guys all to weigh in. What are your thoughts, on, healing, repeating cycles, memories. Oh, there was this cool thing. I tried to look into the study. I didn't like read too much on it, so maybe I could have some things wrong. But basically, it was a study about how the 3D world, the sciencey world, was trying to understand something that you could say the woo-woo community kind of already knows. So like there are a lot of people who will say time doesn't exist, and so we just kind of repeat this. Yes, time doesn't exist. Everything exists in the present, which maybe we know that on a subconscious level, and we just kind of repeat it at the conscious level. But like until you really like integrate it, it's like, oh, then it's mind blowing. Um, okay, so these scientists in China, they wanted to be able to prove that the past is changeable. And, and so they were using protons actually for this, trying to figure out how to change how a proton was in the past. So, like taking some measurements and data of like a proton. And then some time passes, they do some experiments, and then they try to see if the experiments they did in the present had any change on the data from the past. And it showed that there were changes being made. So it's like the past was getting altered based on what they were doing with this proton. So then they started doing the study with like brain waves, and then they started doing like a study with like animals or something, just trying to understand like changing their energy or their physiology in the present. How is that altering the past? And so it's like now like 3D world's starting to catch up, you know, with some of the more like 4D concepts. So I don't know, some of that came up, and I thought that that was interesting. And what brought that up is because we pulled that Six of Cups card earlier, and I kept thinking about memories, and how in the message it was saying, if we go back into our memories, we might actually, now seeing it with our eyes, we might actually look at that memory differently. And then all of a sudden, it's like our whole past has changed because our perception of it, our memory of it has changed. And so a lot of who we are, a lot of who the ego thinks we are, is based on that past. And so if that past can be altered, then our perception of ourselves is changed here in the present. But in order to make that process a lot easier and a lot faster, we change our perception in the present, and thus the perception of ourselves in the past changes. But if we try to change the past first to alter ourselves in the present, it's probably going to be a really lengthy process. But it starts here in the present and then goes back into our past. So fascinating stuff. Fascinating. um, Lilith says, it's interesting how your story reinforces something I could see in her case in an objective manner, as probably her problem could be solved with some hardcore self-love. Yep. Yep. And I find that sometimes even that, I know we say a lot of that, like, oh, don't forget, take some time, do some self-love, care for yourself. And maybe I'm only speaking from the society I grew up in. Maybe it's not just American society, but the society I grew up in the neighborhood I grew up in. That taking time for yourself was seen as something bad. That the world I grew up in reinforced the idea of the martyr. So it's like if somebody were like, man, I didn't get any sleep last night. And, if back when I was in school, like, oh, I studied till like 3 a.m. and then I only got 2 hours of sleep and still I'm here. It's like that's congratulated. So people would like complain about it, but also so they can get accolades about it. It's like, oh, wow, congratulations. You only got 2 hours of sleep. You studied until your eyeballs fell out of their sockets. And then you went and then you went to work and you burned the candle at both ends. And yeah, sure. Now you're getting a sore throat and you're starting to get sick, but it's worth it because you're really, grinding it out. You're a hard worker, and so there's like this reward, even if it's just verbalized, that people who go and go and go until they literally get sick and fall over or they get hurt. And then it's like, oh, well, once you get better, get right back at it, you know? And like I'm saying, this maybe was just a neighborhood I grew up in where that was the reward. But if somebody were to, I'm just going to be home today and I feel like I just need a mental day, that was like unheard of. Back when I was growing up, it was like, a mental day? You don't need a mental day. You can take a mental day when you're dead, is basically what my dad used to say. He's like, you can rest when you're dead. But yeah, so maybe that's something that we're also working through as a collective now. We're realizing that I don't know who put the ideal out there, probably reptilians, that we should basically just work ourselves to the bone and just be the little batteries that they need instead of being a human trying to have a human experience here. And some of that human experience is understanding my emotions, my energy, and my mental rest. What do you mean, some mental rest? So yeah, maybe some self-care stuff coming up. Okay, let's see. Angela says, I think we're going to end a cycle soon. We guide as our guides, new things coming in, but we have to say yes. So I say yes. I feel like we have to make the focus to get out of it. Yeah, I definitely feel like a cycle is ending soon. I don't know. Maybe I will mention it during this live chat. Okay, well, I'll just put it out there into the ethers and then we'll do our pick a card reading. Like, what do you guys think? So yeah, we'll pick a card, our one card readings. So we'll do our super chats and super stickers, but let me just put a little something out there that I got in my own personal little download. I don't even think I told Riley yet, so maybe I'll just like put it out there and then we'll see. Um, John says, I've seen different studies about retro casualty that approach this in different ways. Or people would say you're having a mental break. Year 9 starting to wrap up. Yes. And this is the year 13 Eek in Mayan astrology. So Eek is like the hurricane, the winds of change, clean it all out. And 13 is like the end of a 13-year cycle. So it's like, okay, this is a big year. Like, whew, let's air it out, air out the house. Okay. So, all right, let's see what Angela has to say. Let's manifest getting to our higher cycle, the best part of our dreams today, protection healing, all we need to find where our path is meant to lead. Amen. Yes. Okay. So here's what I got. And I share this with the caveat that this download that I got could just be for my own life. So don't mistake me saying that I think this is for the whole world. I'm just sharing something I got. It could be for the whole world, but it could just be for me personally. So here we go. I was getting about something about October 20th, like of this year, which is not next week, but the week after, I think. And I kept getting something about a big change. So like Angela is talking about a cycle ending. John was talking about the 9 year. I was talking about it being 13 eek. That basically, in all of these different belief systems, everybody feels like something's coming. Even in different like religious communities, there's this feeling that something is coming. Um, and again, this could just be for me. I might not be speaking about the whole world, but it felt like somewhere on October 20 is like the the precursor to that something coming. Um, and so, okay, let me go into it a little bit so I can say it as eloquently as possible, because I never want to put any like fear mongering out there, and I don't feel like there's anything to be fearful of. It's just change. um and it had to do something with unusual weather, that it starts with unusual weather, meaning unusual for this region. So again, I might just be talking about here. And so I started thinking about what would be unusual for this area. So I was thinking, is it like an earthquake? Because we really don't get earthquakes in Arizona. And it was like more that it had to do with the wind, and something about wind and spinning wind, um, and it was like that was like the signal that it was like the beginning of the big change. um, and I just was seeing like things not working. Like if I went to go turn on my cell phone, like it wasn't working. So it was almost like a, what do they call that, an EMP or something, where just like electronics. um, Yeah, so that's just what I was feeling, but I didn't get any fear with that feeling. It was just like more like get excited, and all the messages I was getting was like it's a celebration. It's something that's wonderful and exciting. Don't let fear creep into it, because there is nothing to fear. Like there's like no pain, no hurt. This is like just something different, something that your human brain won't quite understand, and it's not made to understand. So just hold on to the faith that this is the celebration. This is like happy. And I was like, okay. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I didn't quite know how to put that into words, that it's not, I'm not trying to like, that it's just, and again, it could just be for me. I could just be talking about my own life. I don't know. That it's just the beginning of something, and it has something to do with some unusual weather, and that it's a celebration. It's a happy event, but it's the kickoff of something bigger, where like my perception of the world would change. And I was like, well, that's cool, so yay. So thought I'd just share that with you guys. I don't know if you guys got any thoughts on that, because it's been, usually my downloads are very clear. That one felt like something was trying to make it vague on purpose. um, Actually, maybe so I wouldn't be scared, so that I would just be like, okay, cool, we're gonna have a party on October 20th. um, and sometimes I feel like my intuition does that, where it's like, you don't need the whole picture right now because we don't need you to mess it up. So, okay. Lilith says that date has been mentioned several times in the spiritual community. Really? Hmm. Angela says, I accept and claim whatever is coming. I do feel like it's scary, but it's big, but it comes from the intention of a good source. Yes. And I had a wind event, now me off my feet yesterday. Oh, knock you off your feet yesterday. Woo. And tech has been glitching for me lately. So that's odd that you say that. Um, Riley said, also October 20th is when we start that new class that we just signed up for today. I thought that was on the 13th, or was it the 20th? Interesting. um, and then John says, we just got directly hit with a solar flare. We're at the solar maximum. I wouldn't be surprised if it were a similar thing. Hmm. And Angela says, I accept it. I don't feel scared at all. Yeah. So yeah, I just want to put that out there, that there's nothing scary about it. Like, I suppose the only thing we could ever be scared of is change, the unknown. But we've done so many change. We've had so many changes in our personal lives. We've had to dive into the unknown so many times. This is just another thing like it. It's just the unknown. It's just change, and just know that it's for like the utmost good. Like all I keep getting is like party celebration. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, should I get my party poppers? And it's like, source is like, okay, Tara, you're a little extra. You don't need party poppers. I'm like, okay, cool. But yeah, so I feel like maybe before I go to bed tonight, I'm gonna try to like really get down into a pretty good meditation and see if I can gather any more information. But I feel like I'm not allowed to have any more information. I feel like they're like, we gave you all the information that you're going to need. Is that, hey, heads up, there's a change. It has to do something with the weather. Maybe electronics might get a little glitchy, but that's just your heads up that there's some good stuff coming. So I'm like, okay, good to know. Um, Lilith says, yeah, also, there was supposed to be a big exodus this year, and granted, the numbers probably have been dipping, but still waiting for a big event. Hmm. Yeah, so I don't feel like October 20th is like the main event. It's just the beginning. It's like the pre-party. Um, the night before somebody's quinceañera, they usually have a little party right beforehand. So I feel like this is like the pre-party. It's that cool uncle that comes in, and he's, yeah. He's got his tie wrapped around his head because the party already started for him before he left the house. So it's like that thing. It's like the pre-party going on. Um, and Lilith says, can you imagine Tara being near a tornado and throwing glitter at it so it glitters up the wind, the whole country? Oh my gosh. That would be cool. And then people, can you imagine the news capturing you? They're like, oh my gosh, and here we have tornado in the mountains of Arizona. And what do we have here? A citizen. What is the citizen doing? They like zoom in. She appears to be throwing glitter at the tornado. Let's go back to the tornado. Yeah, that would be me. That'd be awesome. But let's metaphorically throw glitter at it. Yep. Lilith cracking up over there. This is Tara. No. I'm just like, yes, yes, do it. Do it, baby. Do it. Winds of change. Okay. All right, guys. On that note, if anybody would like to do super chats or super stickers, let's go ahead and do it. We'll throw some glitter at it. I wish I had some extra glitter. I'm all out of glitter. I threw my whole glitter wad during that giveaway last week, but I could always go back to the store and get more glitter. All right, let's see, what deck would I want to use? Let's use the Walking Meditation Tarot, because that one's fun too. So yeah, if you guys would like to do a super chat or super sticker, I'll have these on the ready. And then if not, well, let's do a channel guided meditation, shall we? John says, better wear goggles. It would have to be a big box of glitter. Oh yeah, John. We're talking about a Connex full of glitter. Excuse me, if we're gonna be lighting up the winds of the country, like Lilith says, then yeah, I can't just go to the 99-cent store and get any old little baggie of glitter. We're going to need like a shipping container full of glitter. Just open those doors and be like, take it, baby. Just take it. Just watching all the glitter. That would be freaking awesome. But goggles. I'm definitely going to need some goggles for sure. Lilith is over there crying. Angela says, I'm going to make it a super positive day. I'm so excited. Whatever October is bringing will be good. John says, microplastics, maybe not. Edible glitter? Yeah, maybe we would have put like microplastics into the air, but what if we did edible glitter? Like what they put on cakes? Because then it might be biodegradable. All right, Costalini. I'll be happy to pull a card for you and for our buddy John. Costalini says, might be a long question, but I was hoping you could tell me what my body is trying to say. The other day, I was driving to Ottawa in a red Mustang. My bottom left molar started to hurt, but not in a painful way, more of a something is missing kind of way. And then my jaw started to hurt, and then I started to have a runny nose, and then a white spot appeared on my left cheek. A day later, I couldn't stop coughing. Interesting. And then Costalini says, kind of like a sudden sickness came over me. It's almost gone now, but the feeling remains in the tooth. I tried to ask my body what was going on, but nothing really came through. Could you help with this? Sure. And then said, the symptoms really became better when I flew back to Texas. Okay. Well, let's take a look at that. And interesting that earlier this morning, it was very brief. It lasted maybe like 10 seconds where I felt like, except it was on my right side, I felt like a little pain here. I felt like the ache come around my jaw. It felt like my whole jaw started to ache and then it just went away. So I don't know if that was like, hey, you're going to have a question about this later. But I find that interesting. Okay, so let's grab this Walking Meditation Tarot. By the way, this is the backs and I love the blue edging. It's gorgeous. Okay, so let's see what your body is trying to say. And Angela also said, glitter is for spells. It's small, it's shiny, it gets everywhere, especially if you add mica powder, which is crystal powder, technically. Lilith says to buy the powder, the glitter factory. And Costellini said, "Yes, that, I had that." Yeah, that's what I was literally feeling earlier. It's interesting that sometimes I get, like, a little feeling, and then later when I'm gonna have the live chat, something about whatever that little feeling I had is, like, in the live chat, so it's like you guys are sending me signals before we have this live chat. Okay, so, I'm gonna tap in Costellini. I'm gonna tap in a little bit differently this time. Normally, I'm just like tapping into your higher self, which I am, but I'm gonna do a little body scan, which I'm gonna look at you physically. So it's like your bones, your organs, your um, circulatory system, all of that good stuff. I'm just gonna do a quick scan. If a song pops up, that's cool while we're waiting for the spiritual MRI to finish. Oh my gosh. You have such fun music playing while I wait for the spiritual MRI. Um, 1, 2, 3, 4, get your one on the floor. But I'm gonna get up, get down. But I wanna get up, get down. Look, everybody's so glad you're here because it's time for Coolio put pull back in your ear. Oh my gosh. And then at the same time, it's like somebody's doing a mix. You know what? I've never had a DJ putting a mix on songs in my head. It's like usually like I hear one song playing, but also the other song that's getting mixed into it is Come Along and Ride On Fantastic Voyage. So that's playing with that Coolio song. That's interesting. I've never heard a spiritual mix before. That's cool. It goes together well, sort of. Okay. Oh, okay. That's interesting. So I was it was like I was looking inside your body, so it was just like your skeleton. Um, and I'm looking at the molar, and the molar is going like right down into the heart space. Um, but it has nothing to do with like love or I mean like love in the romantic sense. Um, is talking about the foods. Um, and paying attention to the foods. It says that like you're so knowledgeable about what makes a body healthy. Like you're in your like logical mind. You're like, if I take this vitamin or I eat this or this is good for my body. This is good for my skin. This is good for my hair. This is good for my heart. This is good for my muscles. Um, but your physical body, which is relaying the message from your energetic body, aka your soul, that a lot of the things that are out there for you to eat that are healthy, um, some of them energetically are not so good. So, like to give an instance, like let's say you wanted to buy some grass-fed beef because they say grass-fed is healthy. Um, but your soul really wants you to like try your best. Maybe you can't get into a full-on meditation at the grocery store, but put your hand on the item and see if you feel pain with it or no. um, because physically, and I know that we already know this, a lot of our foods are tainted. They're not so good for us, and it has nothing to do with the plant itself. The plant untampered with is wonderful. The meat we might eat untampered is beneficial for us, but a lot of it's getting tampered with. So your body's asking you to really feel into it. So like before you buy your meat, before you buy your fruits and your veggies, even before you buy your bottle of vitamins, feel into it first. Because although not everything is tampered with right now, it feels like there's a rollout of some testing. It just feels like testing. I think that's why I was hearing a mix of two songs, like the DJ was mixing the two songs, because they're trying to put a mix into some of these foods, some of these vitamins, all the things that we try to keep ourselves healthy. And your body's trying to show you it's not making you healthy, it's making you sick. Um, and although you have a very strong body, so it wasn't actually making you physically sick, just sick in the sense that you would pay attention, saying, "Hey, this stuff is not so good." Some of it doesn't mean that all of it isn't good. Just you're really going to have to tap in energetically instead of with your eyes. So it might say all organic or something, and then you put your hand on it and you're like, "Oh, that doesn't feel good." Then don't eat that. Okay, but let's pull a card. Let's pull a card. Um, I mean, Two of Swords. That's all about just like, yeah, not looking with your eyes, not looking with the logic mind. Because a lot of stuff is, it feels like people already know, like, okay, probably shouldn't eat packaged foods, probably shouldn't eat processed foods, stuff like that. So people stay away from that, and they tend towards things that are more healthy. Like maybe they'll go have some fish, or maybe they'll have some kale, or some zucchini pasta or whatever. Um, but a lot of that is not. It's energetically, it's poisoned. Um, so this is where we have to be very conscious, not just for Costolini, but it seems like Costolini's higher self is like, this is a message for everybody. Before you put it in your mouth, feel into it. Is it, does it feel good, or does it feel like I probably shouldn't eat this? Even though everything else might tell you, no, but that's good for you. Like it's good for your heart, it's good for your hair, it's good for your skin, it's good for your brain development or something like that. That might be well and good if it were untampered, but a lot of it's tampered. And it feels like this just started a few weeks ago. And although, yes, like I said, we already know a lot of stuff is already tampered with, but this is different. It's a different rollout. Hmm. Okay, so Costolini, let's take a look. Um, John said retro casualty. Oh, precognition. Yes. And Lilith says, you sent a donation through PayPal. Excellent. So after John, we'll have Lilith. I was hoping you can give me a general guidance, but that body scan is piquing my interest. Okay, could do that. Costolini says, so I've been eating grocery store sushi like almost every day for a year now. That Whole Foods salmon sushi. Would you be able to ask about that? Sort of a default behavior. And then, the first thing I noticed back in Canada was the food tasted real, like I could taste it wasn't modified. Um, and John said, zoodles. Yes, zucchini noodles, zoodles. Yeah, so that's something. Yeah, and that's what I kept feeling. I kept feeling like meat, but you were saying fish, like sushi, but that's, yeah, a form of meat. It's ocean meat. Um, that even though, yes, on the surface, we would say that fish is really good for you. It's very lean. It's got a good amount of protein. It's got some of the fatty acids that, your body, especially if it was like, let's say, wild caught Alaskan salmon. But it's some of those things that have already been tainted. So just like you said, that things tasted real when you were in Canada, and then so there is a taste difference, but also there's an energetic difference. So next time you get close to that sushi and you're going to buy it, and you were saying it's the do 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 yeah, the grocery store sushi. Hold the box, if it is in a box, and just do a quick little breath with it. Do I feel any tingling in my hands? Is there any like pain in my jaw? Did I get like a quick little stabbing pain? It may not last a long time. It might be just 1 second of like quick pain in my molar or quick pain right behind my eye, or just it's like a little nudge that we do ourselves of like, no, 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 Um, so yeah, do that moving forward and see how you literally feel. So maybe right now you want to go into your pantry. I know maybe you're not hungry now, maybe you're thirsty. But go into your pantry, go into your cabinets and just like put your hand on certain foods. Do you feel like a quick weird sensation, pain? Do you feel like a quick fever? And it may only last a second. So just, how does that feel? How does that feel? That one feels pretty good. How does that feel? And then start trying to make your decisions based on that. And eventually you'll get to a place where it doesn't matter what kind of 3D tampering has happened to our food, we can always transmute it. But for right now, it wants you to be aware of what food has been tampered so that later on, when you figured out, how to work your energy, then you can go ahead and transmute it. So that we're not in a fear state. We just want to be in a knowledgeable state of like, okay, so this like, wild caught salmon for all intents and purposes, it seems like it would be healthy, but my body's saying no. And then later on, when you understand your energy better, you could be like, well, I could still eat that salmon, even though it has been tampered with, because I'm just going to transmute that stuff because I don't resonate with whatever they put into that. And, but we're not at that point yet. We're just at the recognizing what's what for right now. Costalini says avocado salmon sushi rolls. Oh man, and those do sound really, really good. But I would say feel into it first. Does sound tasty though. I would probably eat that. But I would probably have to feel into it first. Lilith says, these days, it seems like everything was tampered with. Spiritual war, be real. I know, right? Ugh. Costalina says, that's kind of the coolest lesson. Thank you for figuring that out. You are very welcome. So yeah, right now you're just kind of becoming your own little barometer of like, I'll have that, hold that. I'll have that, not that. And then later on, when you're like, okay, now it doesn't matter if it's been tampered with or not. At least I know, like, okay, that's been tampered with, but now I'm about to transmute it. Just like, oh, now I can eat it. But let's figure out like what's what first. Okay, so I believe our buddy John is next, and then we have Lilith, who was so kind to send through PayPal. So thank you, thank you. So yeah, John, let me know what question you have, maybe an area to look into. Man, this energy is feeling, it feels like, how do I want to, it feels mischievous in a non-malicious way. I feel we're like in like a little kid watching, like, ooh, what's about to happen? Kind of mischievous energy, but not malicious. Okay, so John. Okay. Oh, and John again. Hey, thank you. John says, a few weeks ago, I was going to ask if the three sisters, corn, beans, and squash, had anything to say to us. So that's what I'm asking today. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in. And by the way, I think the three sisters grow marvelously, especially up here. That was like my tester run, is to see if they would grow up here, and they did. I was very happy. Angela said, back, sorry for the wait. I had some packages at the door, my Halloween witch dress and new goddesses tarot themed journal. They weren't supposed to arrive till tomorrow, but they just came. Well, hey, happy surprises. Okay, so John, let's tap in. The three sisters. Of course, that song is playing. Of course. We are family. I've got all my sisters with me. Look at everybody and say. Um, Okay, let's see what else. Wow. Thanks, Vader. Sorry. He decided he was going to lay on the tripod. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to pull a card too, but John, this is kind of what I'm getting from them. So it's like the three of them are standing all together. And they said on the surface, we look very different. You know, you have your beans held up on the bean pole, you have your corn, you have the squash just kind of, laying on the ground, and their edible parts look very different. They come in very different colors. How they sprout looks very different, but they have something beneficial for each of them. What is my what I release, as corn is saying, what I release is good for the beans, is good for the squash. What the squash and the beans release is good for me. So we may say that a certain aspect, if we were to look at this as being individuals, like if these were the three aspects within us, our ego, our soul, and a mixture of the two, the ego soul. I guess we call it the eo. But you have these three aspects, and what is good for one might be good for the other. Or what's not so good for one is actually just really good for the other. The other can transmute it. So instead of fighting each other for the nutrients and the attention, so instead of like the soul saying, I want to be in charge, just listen to me, don't forget about the ego. The ego is just this 3D concept, and the ego is like, well, hey, wait a minute, I know a lot about this 3D world, like, hey, give me some credit here. And then the one that is a mixture of the two is like, hey, we got a pretty good balance of this like whole ego soul thing going on. um, that we can integrate all three of these. We don't have to say, well, I'm just a soul, or I'm just a human, or I am a beautiful balance of my ego and my soul. It's like, okay, but we're all of this, and they don't have to fight each other. We can use one to help the other. We can use the other one to help the other. We can use the one that was like a mix of the two to help the other two. Um, so the more that we find ways to aid ourselves inside. So, instead of fighting our past, or fighting what we did, or fighting something I feel bad about, or fighting how my ego flares up when I want to cuss people out in traffic, like, instead of like fighting that aspect of ourselves, and we decide we can utilize these different aspects to help ourselves, then you'll start to notice that the exterior world is going to follow suit eventually. Um, so that it seems like I'm fighting less against my fellow human, instead of fighting their ego. Okay, well, they have an ego and a soul, and a mixture of a soul, ego, a soul, ego. um, how could their ego actually help my soul? And how could my soul help that other soul over there? Instead of, well, I'm corn and you're squash and you're beans, um, because energetically, those three plants are the same, and they know it. And they know that they have something that each other needs. And that's why they don't fight each other for the sunlight. They don't fight each other for the wind or the soil's nutrients. They know that they have something to give the other. And they also don't give and give and give until the beans have died, or until the corn has died, or the squash has died. They know that they have something to give, but they don't give ad nauseum. They give what is needed, just what is needed, and then they take what is needed. It's a beautiful symbiotic relationship, a beautiful give and take, just like we give and take with our ego, we give and take with our soul, we give and take with our soul ego mix, we give and take with others, other animals, the planet. This is all about finding a balance of give and take, and realizing, and although we might say, oh yes, we're all one, but let's really integrate that, you know. Next time somebody like totally ticks me off, like, oh man, this person said this online, that's awful. Instead of fighting that ego, which you're going to be perpetuating my ego versus your ego, that means we're just going to be fighting until, you know, till the end. Um, just, okay, how could that right there, how could that aid my soul? What could I learn about that? I mean, it really ticked me off, but why did it tick me off? And then that's like the give and take. That's the soil that we're in. You're a different person. I'm a different person. That's a different person. We're all made of the same stuff, but we all got something that we can help each other with. So again, not noticing what's different about us, but how we can help each other with those differences. So instead of noticing the difference as like keeping you at arm's length, I notice your difference because that means you can help me and I can help you. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull a card on that. Ah, the Six of Swords, of course. So what the three sisters are saying is kind of at the beginning when they're just starting to, like they're just little like seedlings and they're just starting to grow, and if you've like put them together like in a garden or something, they said at first there is a tug of war kind of going on. It's like it realizes, we sense with our roots and our energy that there are other plants in the vicinity and those plants aren't like me, so I want to take as much nutrients as possible. But I notice that when I do that, and I don't know why I'm speaking from the corn's perspective, but I keep seeing it from the corn. The corn's like, I notice when I take away from the beans and the squash, I'm actually getting more and more sick. And I'm not growing as fast. But when I just kind of like release it and allow whatever goodness that they're giving out and whatever goodness the squash is giving out, I actually feel better and I don't need to take and take and take. So it's just this kind of like release, this balance of I have boundaries, I have something to give, but I also have this like faith that what I need is going to come to me through these other people, through what I learn about myself internally, through all of this. So I hope that makes sense. Wow, man, I always love the three sisters. They always got something good to say. John said, beautiful. All right. Thank you for letting me tap into them. That was wonderful. Um, Lilith says, spirit has a wild sense of humor. You're telling me. You're telling me. Angela says, yes, it does. And I love it. Lilith says, symbiotic relationship. I says, oh, Tara, the Christmas stuff was out in the store already. I saw this iridescent hummingbird ornament, even though we don't have hummingbirds here, but I had to get it because it reminded me of you. Aw, thank you. Actually, we're just talking about the hummingbirds today. I think they've gone back to their winter home. So I won't see them again until the springtime. I'm like, oh, boo. I miss my hummingbirds already. Okay, so Lilith, you wanted to know, hold on, let me go back. You said you were hoping that I could give you some general guidance, but the body scan was piquing your interest. So what would you like me to do? We could do a little body scan, or we could just do some general guidance, but you let me know. And then, yeah, and then we have John again. So yay! um, Angela says, ooh, I love hummingbirds. My Oma did their little bird angels. I always see them as being like connected to our ancestors. So whenever I see a hummingbird that's being a little bit different than the other hummingbirds, I always feel like that's one of my relatives or it's one of my ancestors. Okay, Lilith says, let's try a body scan. Okay, so this is what I do, just so you know. So it's like I don't know, like an MRI. I was going to say a CT scan, but I'm not quite sure the difference between an MRI and CT. Basically, it's just scanning the body. And so it's like where I kind of see just bones, and certain areas will light up either like old injuries or a newer injury, just a place like in the bones needing some extra TLC. And then I'll mention it, and then I do a scan of like your soft tissue, like your organs, and then I do a scan of like the arteries, and then going into like capillaries, basically, all the intravenous systems, and then I look into your circulatory system, um, and then just like the externals, like outside, so like your skin, your hair, your eyes, all of that stuff. So some people say they can feel it. I'm not sure. So let's just go for it. Okay, so I'll just call out any areas that I see that just it just looks like they need a little extra love. So let's go into your bones first, starting at your cranium. Okay, it stopped at the shoulders. It felt like something almost like had fallen on your shoulders because I feel it all in my clavicle. I feel, yeah, kind of like, yeah, basically the whole collar area just feels like it like got impacted, like squished. Okay, carrying on. Let me move through the rest of your bones. And then somewhere just like just before the where your lower back curves, it almost feels like that got impacted too. But just like maybe one vertebrae. And then toes. Could be on the left side, just like it just felt like hairline stuff, but I definitely felt like a pressure on my whole collar area. Okay, so let's go into muscles and your organs. Okay, so muscles right where I felt that in the bones is really tight and really sore. And I feel like the muscles surrounding the pelvis, like groin area, like the iliac girdle, the pelvic girdle, pulling on the patellas in a weird way, causing like you to walk a little bit out of alignment. So it causes like some weird pain and then feeling it down into the toes. Okay, let's take a look at your organs. Squishing around your brain. Your brain looks a-okay. um, just look into the heart, pancreas, stomach. Mm. Feels like a little bit of TLC for the diaphragm, actually. Feels like it may have been impacted pretty hard at some point, but just a little diaphragm TLC. Okay, that's all I'm getting. That's like standing out to me. So let's pull a card and see kind of what your body then would want to say to you based on what I saw. So I definitely saw like with the bone area. So it was the collar area. There was like maybe one vertebrae or something just before your like the curve of your back. Um, there was something like in the diaphragm, but actually the diaphragm that would be in the same area as I felt that one vertebrae. So that could be related to it. And then something down into the toes, just kind of feeling tightness, kind of upper back area, again, connected to the collar area. And then feeling it around the hips, down into the groin, which is like kind of pulling on the, what do you call that? The adductors going into your knees. And then the knees were kind of pulling in a weird way, which might cause them to be sore after a while. And also feeling that one foot where like, I don't know, like a toe got messed up at some point or something. But let's see. Let me just do a little refresh here. Woo, woo. Okay. All right. So we have 7 of Cups. Okay. Let's see. Lila says, interesting because I don't sense my shoulders as much, but my back has been killing me. Perhaps a visit to the chiropractor isn't a bad idea. Okay, well, let's tap into what the 7 of Cups had to share. Okay, so the physical body says that the way it feels like pressure about things like I'm not talking physical pressure, like the whole spiritual journey and like I gotta heal this, plus there's things I want to do in this lifetime, plus I have my to-do list like at this very moment, things I gotta do. And it feels like when it comes down, it's almost like something just like slammed their hands on your shoulders and just like pulled you down. And so kind of that weight here is probably what I felt in that one vertebrae. It's like I wish I was better with like telling you like it might be like just before it becomes lumbar, but it's like right there, right where you feel your diaphragm is, it's in the back there. So whatever pressure you might metaphorically be placing upon the shoulders here, it's kind of crushing that in the lower back. And so since the lower back is compensating, or the middle of the back actually, just before it curves, is compensating, all those other muscles feel like they're becoming really tight, and especially really tight in like your sit bones, like again around the like your groin area, you're on both sides of your groin, and the inner thigh muscles leading down to the knees, leading down to the feet. Oh, hey, there you go. There you have a spinal picture just for you. So yeah, it's right where just before it turns green in that picture. It's like the last vertebrae in orange. It's right there. Okay. So this would be a good time for whenever your next meditation or walking meditation, or just when you have some time to yourself, just to release, but release in a way where you say, you know what, I trust my higher self. I have faith in my higher self. I have faith in, my divine nature and the divine that I come from. That what I need to get done is going to get done. The path that needs to be revealed will be revealed in the timing it needs to be revealed. I'll know what to do when the time comes for X, Y, and Z. I'm already prepared. I'm already ready. My soul's got this. And that's a way of just like releasing some of that subconscious tension. And it should help with the lower back. Again, if you want to go see a chiropractor, you can go do that too. But it feels like it's just like, okay, let's just release some of that by just putting faith into what we, what we can control. And that is, I can control my reaction to things. I can, control certain things, but I can't control other people. I can't control the outer world. I can't control that. So that I put my faith into the soul, into, the divine, that it's got me. I've got me. So hopefully that helps. Lilith says, this kind of ties in with our previous reading where you reminded me to be grateful for what I have. Oh, that's so much higher than where I feel the impact. Curious. Thank you, dear Angela. Appreciate it. And Angela says, you are so welcome, Lilith. Also love your name. Yeah, it looked like it was like right here in the middle. So that's interesting. I don't know, maybe a little trip to the chiropractor, but also just like just a releasing, putting a little bit, just faith. Everything's going to be the way it should be when it needs to be here. And I've got this. I know what to do and I handle it day by day as it comes. And you should start to feel some of that pressure release. So interesting. Okay. Thank you for allowing me to do a body scan. I know that those are pretty personal. Lilith says, I have frankincense and myrrh resin, Angela. Yes, thank you for the reminder. Very welcome. All right. Excellent. And then let's go back here. John had also had another super chat. So John, let me know what your question is. Thank you. Costalini says, suddenly I understand how Tara chooses her boyfriends. Really? Did I put those vibes out there? Nice. And Angela had done a healing prayer with Sekhmet for Lilith to help her feel better. This is that's so nice. This is boop, the brains with the positive vibes, so everyone has a good day. Boop. Angela or Lilith was saying thank you, and then she was going to type a little prayer. She said, may Lady Sekhmet bring the warm healing of the desert sand and the oasis to Lilith Phoenix today. So inside and out, body and soul, mind, body, and soul, she may be healed, pain-free, and live life in the best way. Amen. And Lilith said, amen, sister. And Angela says, Oma always told me my Oma was very wise and witchy with messages is never a bad idea. If you're sore, there's resins, it's been said, to be used since the ancient times. Maybe consider getting one if you can. And then Lilith says, oh, it's okay. I have a vivid feeling daily. So Angela's sending her gentle hugs. Very nice. And Angela says, also give yourself some TLC and a spa day. Relax. And Lilith says, I absolutely will. Angela said, ooh, love those scents. They are fine together. Oh, and then she was having some tech glitches. Okay, so John says, solar return is next week, so I'll not be on the internet. I'd like a general check-in for the solar return. Oh my gosh. You know what that means, John? We have to sing you happy birthday first. Okay, so we're going to pull a card for John, but let's wish our buddy a happy birthday, happy solar return. Okay, I'm going to need some water. Let's do this. Okay, here we go. Oh, Vader, do you have to lay right on top of the tripod? Because, like, there's a whole living room. Okay, all right. All right, here we go. 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear John. Happy birthday to you. Boop, 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 be doop. Yay! Happy solar return. Yes. Vader even made a noise for you. He was like, so yes, I hope that you have a very, very happy solar return. Let's go ahead and pull you a birthday card. Lilith says, Tara, I'm absolutely grateful to have encountered you on this crazy interwebs and grateful for your time with us weekly. Thank you so much, darling. You are very welcome. Angela said, blessed birthday, John. Happy soul return to you. Many blessings and much cake and magic that will be with you. Amen and blessings. Lilith says, throw some glitter in the air for John. Okay, let's tap in. Okay, I don't know why Prince is like it's a bunch of different Prince songs playing. But I think we've landed on Party Like It's 1999. That's cool. I dig that song. I'm gonna party's over. It's 1999. 2000 party over. Oops, out of time. So tonight we're gonna party like it's 1999. Do, 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 do. 1999. Oh, okay, let's see. What else? What else are we seeing for John? Okay, this is an interesting vision, John. It's like you're seated at the first Thanksgiving table. So it's like it's like you're the pilgrim, but the table is just filled with native ancestors. It's just all natives, but not just one tribe, like several tribes seated at the table with you. And there's this massive feast, but it seems like you wanted to get up as if you felt bad because you were like the pilgrim amongst all these natives. But just like we had learned from the three sisters, those ancestors, they don't see you for the clothes that you wear, aka your earthly suit. They see you for you. And so this is a pretty big birthday for you. Not that, not that all our birthdays aren't pretty cool, because they are pretty cool. It seems like this next 365 days for you is really a shedding of everything that you identify with yourself, like, oh, I'm not connected to this because I don't have ancestral ties for this, or I can't do that, or I probably, it's to take away all of that, and that it's just that you are deserving of everything, and you give everything, and it's beautiful. So I just see all of these ancestors, both energetic ancestor and actual bloodline ancestors. They're all here at the table with you, ready to celebrate this abundance that lay ahead. Not just like abundance that we think of like money, but just like it's a spiritual abundance. And it's this integration. It's the no longer worrying that, I look like the outcast at the table, or, I feel bad for this or that. It's like, no, 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 no. You're seated here at this table for a reason. We're seated at this table with you for a reason. We all have something valuable to share with each other. Okay. So let's pull a card on that. Ooh, you got the Justice card. Yes. So I do feel that this, like I said, this is going to be a big turning point birthday where, it's not just like, okay, we had some cake and ice cream and, da da da, I forget, it's just another year older. Like, this has nothing to do with the linear age that you are right now. This is about really recognizing that there is no separation between somebody else's culture and you, somebody else's soul and you, the way somebody else does things and you. that there's only these varied perspectives. And although, yes, you know this at a conscious level, this is really letting this sink in deeper, and it will take the 365 days to do it. Of really seeing yourself as you are worthy, and your place is right here at the table with all of us, and we can celebrate your differences, but we can also celebrate what you have in common with everybody else. So it's honoring the fact that you're different and honoring the fact that you are the same as well. And it's a beautiful balance, and that's something that it seems like you're going to work on with this next 365 days. So yay, happy birthday to you. All right, let's go back here. Angela says, we're so glad you're here too, Lilith. Lilith's over there feeling real good. John says, love it. Thank you. I hope you all have a wonderful day on my solar return too. It says, can't not hear Weird Al. You know what? I hear Weird Al like all the time. Most of the time I hear it is in a, was it not Gangster's Paradise, but it's living in an Amish paradise. I don't know why that plays in my brain randomly sometimes, but it does. It does. Angela says, I got to go, everyone. Bless you all. Can't wait to catch you again. All right. And John said, it's his birth card. Are you serious? That's freaking awesome. I'm telling you, your higher self is has got quite the sense of humor. All righty. I think we got everybody. We had Costalini, we had John a couple of times, we had our friend Lilith. All right. So are you guys ready for a guided meditation? I think we can do that. Okay, so let me put my cards away. Oh, I forgot to share something with you guys. And Angela, yes, you have a beautiful rest of your day. Okay, so over on Instagram, I am doing the Inktober challenge. So I used to do this every year where I try to do Inktober. So Inktober is a Instagram account, and it's for artists and, you know, all kinds of artsy fartsy people. And in October is where everybody gets really excited. I mean, they have prompts that they do all year, but for some reason, October, like, people really get into it. So probably because it's called Inktober. But they, like I said, they do it all year round. But anyway, so like they give you a word every day, and then you get to run with it. Like whatever comes to mind when you think of that word, draw something. Some people don't draw, they sculpt. So you're more than welcome to, like, whatever your medium is, whether you paint or sculpt or whatever. So I've already done a few of the prompts. I still have to do today's prompt, and today's prompt is deer. And I already have it in my head what I want to do. So I'm probably going to do that after this chat. But yeah, I thought I would just show you guys, and then we can do our guided meditation. John says, this is a thing I've been considering with generations of my family living on the reservation. Wow. Well, that's awesome then that it came through. Because yeah, I mean, it was like all these different tribes, and they were like, you belong here at the table with us. And it was almost like this feeling of like, oh no, I'm the pilgrim in the bunch. And they're like, we don't care what your suit is. Like, like we're all one here. That's awesome. Lilith says, art challenge. Yes. Okay. So let me go back, because, you know, we haven't done that many days yet. We're barely on the 5th. Okay, so this was the first drawing. It was for mustache. So Riley was like, what if it was a mustache on a balloon? And so I went with it, and I decided to put a mustache on a bunch of balloons. I thought that would be fun. And then the next was weave. And so I was thinking of like the intricate weavings that my Pima ancestors would create. So that actually took a while because it was a lot of sketching, but it's the man of the corn. That's like what that design is. So I did that for weave. And yes, was it yesterday? No, this is the day before yesterday was Crown. So this is what I did for Crown. And it's October, so she had to be a zombie, right? So little zombie princess there. um, and then yesterday was murky, so I decided to do kind of like a murky glass of water or wine or something, but it's got an eyeball in it because October. So yeah, so today is deer. So I'll figure out something to do for deer. All right, and then we'll go ahead and get to our guided meditation. Lila says, "Ooh, Tara, there's an anime character all around deer in the game I play. She's like a priestess. She is so cool. Maybe it can inspire you." Okay, what is it called? It says she's called Lauma from Genshin Impact game. I want to mention the game to you before. Maybe you'll like it. Technically, a free game to play. Really? Well, I'll have to go check it out. So Lauma Genshin Impact game. Okay. I'm just trying to commit it to memory so I can go look it up afterwards. Okay, will do. That sounds like fun. Gina said a cute mustache drawing. Well, thank you. All right, you guys. So thank you all for coming. And let's go ahead and settle in to a nice uh, ambient space. So I'm going to get out of the way so that you guys have my little altar here. Yes, Vader. We're going to do a meditation. Okay, let me get you guys some incense going. My best little thrift store find. Apple cinnamon incense cones. Let's make sure it gets nice and burny. All right. Okay. All right. So go ahead and find yourselves a nice, comfortable space. A place you will be undisturbed for the next several minutes. You could be lying on your bed, sitting in a chair, perhaps lying underneath your favorite tree. And during today's meditation, we are going to do our light language activation. While you focus on the breath, feeling the rise and fall of your chest. And this activation will help us to stay grounded and move with clarity and whatever may hold for us in the future. Because we know that whatever may come was meant to, and that we are ready for it. We are prepared. There is nothing to fear. We are surrounded in love. We came from love. You are held. You are guided. You are powerful. And you are ready. So just continue to focus on your breath during this light language activation. New. New. Oh. Oh, new. Oh, no. Oh, oh, no. No, no, no. Neom, neom, neom. Oh, neom, 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 neom. Neom, 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 neom. Neom, 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 no, neom, neom, yo, neom, yeom, neom. Neom, 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 ha, ha, neoma, ha, ha, neoma, ha, ha, neoma, heom, ha, ha, neom, ha, ha, neom, no, ha, neom, neom, ha, ha, neom. Oh, oh, now, oh, 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 now, 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 no, oh, now, oh, oh, now, help, now, home, 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 home. He, him, 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 I am, him, I am, him, I am, him, I am, home, oh, oh, him, oh, oh, him, oh, oh, him, him, Pero, ha, ha, nail, ha, nail, ha, nail, ha, nail, ha, nail, ha, May, oh, oh, nail, oh, oh, nail, oh, nail, oh, oh, home, 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 home. Okay, guys, go ahead and bring your awareness back into your body. You could wiggle your fingers and toes and have yourself a little stretch. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed that channel guided meditation slash light activation. Um, I just kind of allowed spirit to guide me on that one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Thank you so much for hanging out with me during this Sunday live chat, for allowing me to pull cards for you guys, for having so many wonderful questions, everybody weighing in with different points of view and lots of fun things to talk about and thought-provoking things to talk about. Thank you so much. Let's see, let's go back here. John says, you are already connected to corn with the man of the corn. Ah, that's right. See, corn's coming in hot. Lilith says, you're extremely skilled artist. Well, thank you. All right, you guys. So I will catch you all next Sunday. And like I said, maybe before we get into the Halloween Samhain week, we could have a couple of outdoor bonfires. We could have a couple of like extra chats, not just on Sunday, but have a couple of nighttime chats. You know, maybe tell some fun stories, some spirited stories, you know. Lilith says, thank you for being there for us and sharing your gift with us, Tara. Many blessings to you guys. Have a fun and blessed Sunday. Peace, love, and chicken grease, you guys. Peace out. Bye.